Ever get that feeling digging through old records, hoping to find like a hidden gem, that perfect album, movie, something special? Well, some people actually turn that feeling, that passion, into a career.
Yeah. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the world of music and video shop specialized sellers. What they do, the skills they need, how they navigate this constantly changing industry, all that and more.
And when you say changing, it makes me think about how we actually consume music and movies.
Right.
I mean, think about it. The image of a record store, it's like nostalgic, right?
Oh, totally.
But the technology has changed so much, and we've gone from CDs to like streaming everything. So these shops have had to adapt big time.
It's a whole different world from like the days of just going to the video rental store, that's for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, totally.
So let's put ourselves in their shoes for a second.
Okay.
If you could step behind the counter, what would a typical day even look like for a music and video shop specialized seller?
It's kind of a mix of customer service, but also like curation.
Oh, interesting. Because, the information you shared with me from RoleCatcher, it says that a specialized seller, it's not just ringing people up. They're guiding customers through genres, different formats, offering suggestions. They're like the music and movie gurus.
So you'd basically need to know everything about everything,
Right.
from like classical music to those super niche documentaries. No pressure, right?
Exactly.
But what about the like behind the scenes stuff? I'd imagine it can't all be geeking out about new releases and old classics.
You're right. The job description also mentioned things like handling sales, managing inventory. So keeping the shop organized, that's a big part of it too.
So it's a balance.
Yeah.
You've got the passion, but then you've got the practical side of things too.
Exactly.
Now, if you were in their shoes, if you were the music and video shop specialized seller, what do you think you'd enjoy the most? And on the flip side, what do you think might test your patience a bit?
Ooh, that's a good one. For me, helping people discover new favorites, staying up on all the trends, that would be really cool. But then again, I don't know how much I'd love like managing the inventory and dealing with a difficult customer every now and then.
Yeah.
That comes with the territory.
That's the reality.
Yeah,
Some days are diamonds, some days are not.
exactly.
Okay, so we've got a feel for what it's like behind the counter, but it takes more than just like a love for music and movies to really make it, right?
Right.
So let's talk about skills.
Okay. Yeah.
Our RoleCatcher source, it highlights a few like persuasion, service orientation, active listening. Those are the top three. So why are those so important in this particular field?
It's really all about connecting with the customer. Think about it. You walk into a really great record store.
Okay, yeah.
What's the experience like? They don't just point you to new releases, right?
Right.
They talk to you. They want to know, okay, what are you into? What do you like? Maybe even introduce you to something totally new. And that's persuasion in action. Understanding what the customer wants and, gently guiding them towards it.
It's like a personalized playlist, but like in person.
Yes, exactly.
And the service orientation, that's got to be more than just like being friendly and asking, how are you?
It is. It's about being a resource, right? You're just selling a CD or a DVD. You're selling that experience.
Yeah.
The source even says creating a welcoming atmosphere, being knowledgeable. Some customers, they're coming in with a specific request. Others, they need suggestions. So you're there to help them navigate all of that.
And that brings us to active listening. I mean, it seems obvious, but why is it so crucial in this type of environment?
Imagine somebody walks up to the counter and they're like, hey, I'm looking for something new to listen to. An active listener is going to ask more, right? Like, what kind of music do you usually listen to? What are you hoping to feel when you put this new music on?
It's about uncovering like the why behind the request to give them a really good tailored recommendation.
It's like you're reading their minds a little.
A little bit, yeah. And these skills, they obviously apply outside the music store too, right?
Totally.
But let's say you've mastered these skills. You're like employee of the month every month.
Okay.
What are the chances of moving up? What's the career trajectory look like for a music and video shop specialized seller?
So there are a few paths you could take. You start as a sales associate, could move to senior sales associate, then maybe even assistant manager, or even like store manager.
Okay.
And each step usually comes with more responsibility. Like you'd be training new staff, managing that inventory that we talked about, and making decisions that affect the entire store.
So you might actually get to curate what's on the shelves yourself.
Right. Exactly.
So there's definitely room to grow, even if those higher up positions, they're a little more limited.
Yeah.
But what about someone who eventually wants to do something else, like a career change? Does this experience translate to other jobs in the music industry?
Absolutely. The skills you build as a specialized seller, they're valuable, and not just at the music store. The information we have, it actually mentions music distribution, marketing, even like artist management. Think
Wow.
about it. You're surrounded by music. You understand all the trends. You're connecting with artists' labels. So yeah, you could transition into like promoting independent musicians or even working for a record label.
It really is about following your passion, isn't it?
Oh, sure.
But the music industry itself, it's a whole other beast.
Yeah.
So let's dive into that a bit more. So we've talked about the day-to-day, the skills, the career path, but there's one thing that seems to be super important:
What's that?
passion.
Yeah.
Our source keeps emphasizing knowledge and staying up on all the music and video trends,
Right.
which makes sense.
Yeah, you're like a walking, talking encyclopedia in this job.
Yeah.
Imagine somebody coming in and they're looking for something specific. You got to know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like some obscure band or something.
Oh, totally. I'd be lost. But how do they actually stay current?
Well, I mean, they go to industry events, they network.
Okay.
They're probably part of a bunch of online communities, reading music magazines, all of that.
Okay.
But it's more than just like knowing the what, it's also the why.
That makes sense.
Think about like you're in a job interview, right?
Mm-hmm.
They ask you, how do you stay up to date with the latest trends? You have to show them you're really into it.
That you live and breathe this stuff. Okay, but let's be real for a second, all right?
Okay.
Digital platforms, they've changed everything.
Yeah.
So how do these physical music and video shops even compete?
It's a huge challenge.
Yeah.
It's something that our source even talks about.
Right.
But that passion that we're talking about, that's what makes a difference. You walk into a store, you get an experience that you're just not going to find online.
Right, it's more personalized. You get that human connection.
Exactly. You can't get that from an algorithm.
Exactly.
They can host live events, signings, things like that. They can curate a really interesting and unique catalog.
So it's less about competing with the online giants and more about creating a destination.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're not just selling a product, you're selling an experience. So as you're thinking about this career, remember that it's constantly changing. You have to love music and movies, yeah, but you also have to be adaptable. You have to be a little bit entrepreneurial.
That's great advice. Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the world of music and video shop specialized sellers. We learned about their day-to-day, the skills needed, and the challenges and rewards that come with the territory. Until next time, keep exploring those hidden gems, both in music and in life.